Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this next installment of the Northwest Chamber of Commerce member interview studio sessions. Joining us today is Krystle Tighe of Baywood Hotels. Krystle is the Director of Sales at both the Residence Inn by Marriott and the Home2Suites by Hilton. Hi, Krystle.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for having me on today.
Thank you for joining us. Krystle is a very valued member of our chamber. She sits on the board of directors as well as co-chairs the Young at Heart event every quarter. So we love Krystle. We appreciate all that she does for us. Sometimes she provides us a place to eat our lunch after networking events. So we always appreciate having her around.
Absolutely. Keeps me entertained throughout the day.
Of course. Well, we will get started. We're excited to get to know a little more about you today, Krystle, and what you do with the hotels. So we'll get started.
All right.
So with your career, we are curious, what is it that first got you into the world of hospitality?
Sure. So I kind of fell into the world of hospitality. I was in college to be a child psychologist, and that's really what I wanted to do. And so I was working I won't out the company I was working for, but I was working a really awful job and had a bad day at work. And so I walked across the street to a hotel to ask if they were hiring because I needed something just to put me through college that wasn't as stressful as the place I was working. And I like to say the rest is history from there. But no, I quickly learned how complex the hotel world was and how interesting it was. And every day I was meeting new people and not just on like a quick hi-bye level. It was, really getting to know them one-on-one and finding out their experiences and the world they come from and the career that they had or the vacation they were on or the family reunion they were attending or whatever that looked like. And so it became more of a fun place to be than a workplace to be. Mm-hmm. Whereas my college career was very depressing. And so I was like, I don't know that this is really the route for me. So I think I'm going to stick with hotels. And then 2009, I found myself in the sales world of hotels and really wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do, but it was a fun opportunity to open a hotel. And so I took it and now I've been here ever since.
And you're great at it. Krystle is such a salesperson. She's great at talking, great at communication, great at working with people. So it definitely sounds like you found the right role after all of that.
Yeah, I've done in the sales role, I've done select service, full service, but I really love what I do now, which is extended stay for many reasons. But this is probably my favorite role in the hotel industry so far.
Well, that's great. We love to hear that. And what is it? I mean, I know you said it's a fun place. It's definitely, a little bit different each day, but what is it that you love most about your field?
Yes, I think that every day is different. For the most part, no 2 days are ever the same. You meet tons of personalities, tons of people. Because I oversee the extended stay side of things right now, I get to create these small bonds with people that are a little more long lasting because they're long-term guests than just, like I said, the in and out of, of a more transient hotel. So I definitely love that a lot. I love finding about why people are here, the cities they're coming from, the jobs that the roles they play. We get to usually meet their friends and their family as well. People are here for, I guess I would say it's fun to watch someone come in, not fun, but someone will come in and they'll be a little nervous because they're in a new city. They might be relocating to the area. So I've been working with them on a one-to-one level on the sales side. And then when they get here, they don't know anyone. So I get to be their first person they interact with in their new city. Or then we have other things like devastating reasons for fires, floods, things like that. So we get to be the first person that reminds them that they're okay. There's a roof over their head. And then we slowly become their little family unit. So I think that's probably what I love the most is getting to know the people on a more one-to-one level and then having them here for a while.
Through the process.
Yeah.
And number 3, what has been a favorite moment of your career?
I have lots of them, so this question's tough for me, but I'm going to go with my favorite, and hopefully it's not too much of a long-winded story, but being in the extended stay world, this was not my property I'm at now, but a different property I was at. I was actually working the front desk at the time, and we had a husband and a wife check in, and they walked in the door very anxious and scared and excited, and of course we were like, okay, what's happening? Because they were just walking in the door for 30 days, and which people just don't do. That's typically something that's planned ahead of time. So they had just gotten the call a few hours ago that they were picked as a match for a little baby girl that they were going to adopt here in Maryland. And so they were anxious because they had just found out hours prior and they made the trip down. They weren't really sure if they were going to be able to afford the hotel for 30 days, because in Maryland, you have to stick around for 30 days before you can go home with the child. So they were anxious because they weren't expecting to be picked that last minute. So they were like, we weren't prepared. We have nothing. We don't know what we're doing. We're just going to go to the hospital and hopefully come back with a little baby. And so the whole staff was pretty involved in the story and excited. And so we anxiously awaited for them to come back with this little girl, which they did. Her name is Layla. So it was very exciting, but we knew they were coming back with nothing. So the staff quickly scrambled to put together like a makeshift baby shower for them for the essential things that they needed. And so we were all waiting when they got there with, anything we could think of, donations or things we could buy and provide for them. So that was super exciting. And then we got to just celebrate with them. And I don't want to say raise the baby because it was only 30 days, but it felt like she was all of ours. And we ate breakfast with them and lunch with them and dinner with them. And we were on all the phone calls and everything. It felt like we were involved in with them. And then on the day of their court, everyone came to the hotel. We all waited around the big communal table in the lobby for them to come back, because it was a very rocky road for them. And the family wasn't really sure if the adoption was going to go through or not. So we anxiously awaited for them to come through the door, which they did, holding Layla. So we celebrated, we had a party, we had dinner for them. And there are quite a number of us that still keep in touch with the family 9 years later. So it is fun to watch her grow up, and not an experience I ever would have thought I would have been involved in had I not been working at the Fantastic Day.
Yeah. And for in the hotel industry, being involved in the extended stay, like you said, creating those bonds, and this many years later, you're still a part of their lives. And I'm sure they never forget all that you guys did for them.
No, definitely not. They send us photo albums, and well, now it's all digital, but in the beginning, we used to get a yearly photo album of pictures of them, which was really great.
So sweet. I love that.
Yeah.
No, that's really sentimental, of course. I love that. But has there been any funny experiences or interesting along the way? I'm sure there are.
This again was another hard question. I'm sure, as many people can imagine, the craziest of things happen in a lot of places, but especially hotels. So coming up with an experience that was appropriate for the call today was a little difficult. But one of my favorites, and partially because I also got my brother-in-law into the hotel industry when he was pretty young. So he was the one that was working the front desk. So this story is coming back to my office in his context, which he's a very funny person. But he comes back to me and he says, I have a situation, I'm not really sure what to do. And I said, okay. And he said, so I was checking in a lady, and she said it was just her and her daughter that were staying. And so I checked her in, and she went out to her car and she got her bags and she walked to the lobby with a stroller. And he said, but wasn't a kid in the stroller. And I said, what was in the stroller? And he said, it was a baby pig. And I said, a baby pig? And he said, yes. And he was dressed in a little dress. And I didn't believe him because he's a jokester. So I was like, that's not true. And he said, I swear to God, there is a pig in the stroller. So he's like, when the woman, she went upstairs, and when she came back, like, we require all of our guests to sign because we are pet friendly. So we don't discriminate, pigs, chickens, dogs, cats, doesn't matter. But you have to sign a pet policy because there are policies and procedures in place if you have an animal in the hotel. So when we asked her to sign the policy, she said, I'm not signing that. This is my daughter. And she was thoroughly convinced that this was her child. And she did not want to sign a policy that claimed it was an animal. And so it was a situation I've never been in my life as a manager. Probably I'll never will be again. So I had to go above me. And I was like, listen, I don't know what to do. This woman doesn't want to sign the policy or pay the pet fee, but it's definitely a pig. So my boss was like, are you sure it's a pig? I'm like, guys, I'm sure I've seen it. It's adorable, but it is definitely a baby pig. So we let this woman we just let her go, and we didn't charge her the pet fee, and we let her wheel her pig around in the hotel because we actually really enjoyed the pig. I can't remember the name now, it was a while ago, but I think that was probably one of the funniest moments because no one expected that at all. Nor have I seen it. No.
And it should go on the record that I love baby pigs. So if a piglet ever makes its way into the lobby, you have to text me.
I definitely will.
Now, you guys always have a great team. I mean, at both hotels, the staff is always great to us, always friendly. In your line of work, do you have like a favorite word that you live by or a phrase that you like to share with the team or even just for yourself?
So I have a couple. So I'm gonna go with two. We have two kind of. One is more personal, one is more for the hotel world or any industry that's customer service driven. But there's a video on YouTube, and I cannot remember who does it, but it's called "Give 'Em the Pickle," and it's about a guy who owned a restaurant, and every sandwich came with a pickle, but pickles became expensive, and so they started charging for the pickles, right? And people got really mad. So the owner came in, he's like, I don't understand why we're losing customers. And the manager said, well, we started charging for the pickle. And the owner was like, just give them the pickle. Like, we're losing too much money. So we use this a lot in the hotel industry. People ask for crazy things all the time, crazy and not crazy. They want early check-ins, late checkouts. They want 18 bath towels for some reason. Lord only knows why. So, and sometimes the front desk, I don't want to say takes offense, but they take pride in the hotel a little, and someone that's trying to take advantage, like someone that might grab way too much breakfast or come down for 16 cups of coffee a day. And they're like, but they're wasting it. And I'm like, guys, just give them the pickle. So it's not worth losing the revenue for that night just because you don't like that they drank too much coffee or whatever that looks like. So that's one thing we use a lot. We make each new employee watch the pickle video, which it's a really old video, and I cannot remember the name of the restaurant or the guy that does it, but we do make everyone watch it. And I think personally, you can do hard things, I think is something I try to tell myself all the time. And something feels too overwhelming, I try to remember that like we're all capable of things we don't even realize we're capable of. So those are my two, not words, but phrases. And I love the word innocuous. I don't know why. It's a weird word. And someone used it once, and I felt really uneducated in the conversation because they didn't know what it meant. And I vowed to myself that I would never not know what that word meant after that. So that year I made it a staple to learn a new SAT word every week. And so anyway, innocuous stuck because that's what drove the SAT word.
That's a great word. You, like me, are an avid reader, so I'm sure, just having that vocabulary is great. Learning new words, that's always fun, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Now, how about sounds or noises, like music or anything like that you prefer to listen to be productive or to relax?
So I love music. So music is always on in my house. I listen to music probably more than I listen to the TV, well, for sure. And audiobooks are my jam because I'm a total book nerd. But sounds itself, anything water related. I love the ocean. I feel like that's so cliche, but I love the ocean. I love the sound of rain. Just like a stream. I don't know, anything that has to do with water. So that's typically what I'll put on if I'm like trying to sleep or trying to relax, or if I'm at work and I just need I need like white noise and just to drown out everyone else. Is usually what I'll listen to.
Those are good. I like that. I agree. Now, profession-wise, is there a profession other than your own currently that you would like to attempt at some point or you would have liked to attempt?
So I want to do something super crazy. Like I would want to do something that I think I would be afraid of. I don't know, maybe not afraid of, but like, I don't know, like a travel blogger. Like, how do you even get into that world? I'm sure there's a way to get into it. But or like I want to be like a captain of a yacht or something and drive rich people around the ocean and take them from Bermuda to wherever. Or I don't know, or a pilot. Like I always say, like if I ever had a superpower, I'd want to be able to fly. And so I could fly. I mean, technically I could fly a plane if I wanted to. So I think it would be interesting to learn how to do it. I don't know that I'd want it. I wouldn't want that responsibility as a profession, but
Right.
If there was no risk involved, I probably would be like, sure, I'll be a pilot or I'll drive a boat or something that involves travel. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and taking a risk. I think that's great. That's a great thing to have wanted to attempt or would like to.
Yeah.
Great. Now, the most important question that we ask here on the interview studio sessions, what is the one business lesson that you wish you would have known prior to starting your career?
I wish I would have known how to negotiate better. I was kind of thrown into the sales world as a very naive 23-year-old that just wanted to close every deal, right? Didn't matter if it made sense or it didn't make sense. The yes was important because then I could say, look what I did. But then I realized quickly that it wasn't about pleasing everyone always. It was about negotiation, about getting what made business sense for us as well as for the client. But I did take a really awesome seminar, probably way too far into my career, about negotiations, or I don't want to say public speaking, but how to listen, I guess, more than talk to people, and how with negotiating things, a lot of people will just talk themselves right out of something. So they'll say, in the hotel world, for example, the rate is XYZ, but if that doesn't work for you, I can give it to you for this rate. Like you just talked yourself down $20 for no reason. So I guess negotiating and really listening, I really wish I would have known that in the beginning, because that's really important. Plus to hear people, but just to, sometimes it's not about money, so my go-to in the beginning was like, oh, if that doesn't work, we can go lower. So now I just really listen, and sometimes it's not about that. Maybe it's about a better breakfast, or maybe it's about shuttle service, or it's not really even about the money.
Those are good lessons and really applicable to any field or position. So that's a great answer.
Yes, Ron Shapiro is a great person. I don't remember the name of his book now, but I went to a seminar that he taught about negotiating and being quiet and letting people talk, because the other person will most likely talk themselves right out or into something if you just be quiet. It was very good and very eye-opening.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Krystle. It was great to spend a little time with you and get to know you a little better. Make sure, everyone, if you have friends or families or clients or anyone coming into the area, to check out Krystle at the Home2Suites by Hilton or the Residence Inn by Marriott. She is great to work with, and I'm sure she'd be happy to put your people up for you.
I would, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Krystle.